Hey everybody, welcome back live at Drew's House, Joppa Afternoon Drive. Hope you're all doing well out there. As where did summer go? This is annoying for me. It always goes by too quickly. I told you that. But with that, we get to the end of, we come towards the end of baseball season already and all this stuff. And I get one of my favorite guests in here. Chad Finn joins us again, columnist for the Boston Globe, return guest. How are you, Chad?
I'm good. Great to be back.
Good to see you. Thanks for coming on over to Newburyport. You're coming from the north of us, though. You're only about 45 minutes, you said, right?
Not bad, yeah. Scenic Wells, Maine, so
Okay.
not a bad trip at all.
Very good. How's Scenic Wells, Maine these days?
It's a little less busy now. We're getting to the best. You mentioned the summer.
Yeah.
It's the best part of the summer up there. There's a little bit less traffic on Route 1, but it's still nice weather, great weather.
All the tourists from Massachusetts are getting out of there now? Is it
Not a lot of Maine plates that you've seen.
It is a true thing, isn't it? This is like the best time of year up there, though. I always thought, as it was starting to get into September and May, it was always my favorite.
Yeah, it picks up again too. The
Yeah.
tourists for sure come up, see the leaves change.
Yeah, no doubt. Leaf peepers, right? I remember I went up to the Berkshires one year, and I remember seeing a whole like trolleys full of leaf peepers get off. And I remember I was with a girlfriend at the time, and we were looking for something a little more exciting. I don't think I realized how quiet the Berkshires were leaf peeping season, but I think we ended up going to New York City right afterwards. But leaf peeping, I think it's great, but
Different experience.
A little different experience,
Yeah.
yes. Not quite the buzz we were looking for at the for our little weekend getaway. But anyway, all right. So a lot going on. Let's start with I think I don't know. For me, it's still the boys of summer, the Red Sox. I'm annoyed with this team. It's like they're starting to come back to I used the line the other day. I think they are who we thought they were now. They're 6 games out of a playoff spot as we speak here, and I don't know. It doesn't look like that's going to happen. What's this, 4 or 5 years in a row now? Not good, Chad.
Yeah, it was just going to be 5 years out of 6 that they don't make the playoffs.
How does that happen in Boston?
Oh, a lot of different reasons.
Yeah.
They traded Mookie Betts. I don't know if you heard about that, but
Is that why the Dodgers hat? Are you still protesting?
Dodgers hat, as you can tell by the condition that it's in, goes back to when they traded Manny Ramirez there. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah. It's kind of the Red Sox West for a while. Derek
Understood.
Lowe, Bill Miller.
Yep.
So, yeah, I like having a good beat-up hat to wear too. But yeah, it's a lot of different things. The big one is they haven't spent on high-end talent. They kept Rafael Devers here on a long-term contract. Seemed like they paid it reluctantly after trading Mookie Betts to the Dodgers and not giving him the going rate for what a superstar major league player costs. And John Henry said what he thinks. Everybody forgets about it, but he really gave away the ghost at Winter Weekend 2 years ago, where he said baseball players are expensive. That's what it is. That they don't feel comfortable after getting burned a couple of times paying 9-figure salaries to guys, especially pitchers. And so there's a talent deficiency on this team that they've been dealing with for a couple of years.
You talk about Mookie Betts, though. That shouldn't have been an issue there, though, right? I mean, that's a proven guy. That's
Yeah.
He could handle everything here. He was doing the other stuff. He's just a good community guy. He's giving turkeys out on Thanksgiving, right?
He was after the playoffs he was taking their leftover food in the clubhouse over to the public library and giving it to homeless people. I mean, it's
unreal.
That's a mensch, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, the Red Sox like the narrative around Mookie that he didn't want to be here, which it just isn't true. I had talked to him about that, and a few other people have as well, while he was still here. And when I talked to him, he was looking to buy a house. He was engaged. He's married now, and they were looking to buy a house in Boston. But he wanted what he's worth. And the Red Sox were the ones who ended negotiations when there was a big gap between what he was asking for and what they were willing to pay. And they really kind of messed it up. You can't totally blame them for it, but they messed it up by trading him. COVID hits. Mookie looks at free agency and says, after this, there's not going to be much of a market. Everybody's trying to recover from financial effects and every other effect from having a pandemic. And so he signed with the Dodgers. If they had not traded him, he would still be a member of the Red Sox today.
So, yeah, anybody who tells you that Mookie Betts didn't want to be here, you can just, enough of that argument.
It's not true.
It's not true. All right, straight up. And then, how do you get away with, just from a fan's perspective, you go in, it's an expensive ticket. Maybe it was top in the league for a while. I don't know what it stands at now, but I know it's still up there.
I think it still is, yeah.
Beer prices are sky high. I mean, how do you just justify it as an ownership group missing the playoffs like this year after year?
You didn't even mention the $60 parking.
Yeah, right?
I don't know what a bottle of water costs, but last time I saw it was $7.50.
Yeah. Bargain.
Once you go to Hannaford or Market Basket or whatever, you can probably get a few more bottles of water for $7.50 than you can at Fenway. But it's an incredibly expensive outing, and I think it's priced a lot of people out. And what the Red Sox count on is Fenway is a destination for baseball fans. It's you don't have to be a Red Sox fan to want to go see a game at Fenway Park. And so they've capitalized on that a lot the last couple of years. But what's happening is Red Sox fans are getting frustrated because they go to Fenway, and this is going to get worse over this last month plus of the season. And it's inundated with fans from the other teams. We've seen it with the Cubs, the Dodgers, Yankees last September, and it's going to happen again.
The Toronto Blue Jays just here. They are not a good baseball team this year, and that place is half Toronto fans.
Yeah, that's happened a couple of times the last few years. But Blue Jays fans travel well, and good seats available at Fenway late in the season.
Actually, a funny story? I was there. It was that Devers walk-off game like a month ago. I remember it was a day game, getaway day. Hit a ball off the monster. Good game. But there was a father and son behind me, and they had just made the drive from Toronto. I noticed the kid was wearing a Blue Jays hat for the day game, and no hotel. They were driving right back. I couldn't believe it. I was like, really? He's like, yeah, why not?
I thought driving down from Maine was long.
Yeah, right? I thought it did seem a little much. I'm trying to do the math in my head. I was like, I don't know what he does for
Great
work.
Great memory, I bet, right? Great memory for dad and son.
Yes, I think so. It was a great game too, but a decent game. Sox won at least, but I just don't understand how they. I don't understand the thought process. I don't know, John Henry, we keep hearing about his other projects. I think that's a big part of this too. I don't know if you have any insight on that, but they seem to keep building up around Fenway.
Yeah, they certainly do that. The MGM and all of that, and Fenway Sports Group, which is their big, company that oversees their NESN and the Red Sox. And
is he in the ballpark, John Henry? Does he show up anymore?
Haven't seen him in a while.
I can't imagine.
I haven't been there a whole heck of a lot lately, but I was actually talking to somebody with NESN last night, and he said they haven't seen him quite a while, and Tom Warner's not there a whole heck of a lot. So.
Yeah, they used to be sitting front row when things were going good, and
maybe I get bored with it. I don't know.
Championships, yeah, I guess I can see where that would be boring. Well, I don't know. Anyway, so the state of the Red Sox is not good. Where do we go from here? It looks like they're going to miss the playoffs.
Yeah, they're gonna.
Yeah.
If you look at this is something the Red Sox really value. Craig Breslow is can never remember his exact title, but he's basically the president of baseball operations, makes all the decisions, looks at probability a lot. Like, what's your chance on this day of making the postseason based on what you got for a schedule remaining, where you are in the standings, how many teams ahead of you. And there's this great stat recently, Chris Cotillo of Mass Live dug it up, where at the start of the season, the Red Sox chance of making the playoffs was 29.2%. And as of like 2 days ago, it was 29.2%. So going back to what you said at the beginning, they are what we thought they are. It's exactly true, right down to the math of it.
Yeah.
So I think they're Breslow and the Red Sox, they're very realistic about where things stand, and I think they recognize it's not happening.
Gotcha. What do we know about Breslow? Do you know him well? Is he a guy that is he the guy here for a while, or I don't know?
I think he's done a really good job. I mean, the one thing you can take away from this season is what they need to do now.
Yep.
Coming into this year, you looked at the roster and you said, Rafael Devers is a star. Tristan Casas, the first baseman, is probably going to be a star. He was very good last year.
He's quirky.
He's goofy, but he can hammer the ball.
Yeah.
And then you didn't really know much else. Young prospects, but the best ones were in Double-A in Portland, so they were ways away. And what's happened is they've really developed some quality offensive players. Jaron Duran has had a monster season. Cedon Raffaella has become a really exciting player who can play shortstop and center field and is super athletic and plays with flair and confidence. He's a flawed player, but he's going to be a part of good teams. You can tell that. So they have a surplus, I think, now with their young prospects coming up, not being too far from the majors, a surplus of offensive talent. Their pitching stinks, so they need to go out and trade some of this surplus to bring in high-end pitching this year. And Craig Breslow, he's a pitcher in the major leagues. He is a Yale grad and extremely smart guy, but he's also been in a baseball clubhouse for a long time. So pretty good balance there, and I think he knows what he needs to do.
All right, cool. And we think Duran's good getting through his that moment there a month ago. That's I know that made national headlines there for obvious reasons, and he does seem like a guy that gets kind of, I don't know, there's like a hot temper to him that probably needs to come down at some point.
Yeah, I wrote this, but that word came out awfully easily for him.
Yeah.
And as my mom always said, the first time somebody gets caught doing something probably isn't the first time they did it.
Right.
And but he's a guy who has seemed to have matured a lot over the last couple of years. He's talked about anxiety issues, emotional issues that he's dealt with, and seems to be someone who's tried to better himself. And I'm willing to look at this as just a step back that he can work to recover from. And
sure.
He helps say he's a fantastic player.
It does. He is exciting to watch. He said the right things, I guess, while he was wearing a profanity shirt.
Yeah, just put that away. He says that's what helps him, deal with his anxiety and his stress levels, and it's kind of his mindset. But I think you just put tape over that. For that particular, just during the apology,
It does. I remember thinking it does alarm me about that clubhouse a little bit that there wasn't like a veteran that was like, "Yo, not today."
Yeah. The Red Sox weren't happy either.
Oh yeah.
Sam Kennedy and team president. And, they were pretty upset by that.
Sam Kennedy, they seem to roll him. He's the guy that speaks to the media now.
Takes the arrows,
and he's definitely doing that. Although he's kind of, I don't know. I feel like I know it's a no-win situation for him. They're putting him in this situation where go tell them we're trying to win. When it doesn't look like you're trying to win. I get it. You have to try to sell something, but it does kind of just. I mean, Red Sox fans see the BS and all that. It's they see right through it.
Yeah, when you come out and you act like you're angry and maybe to some degree that you are, but Sam grew up here. The boyhood friends growing up in Brookline, Red Sox fan, boyhood friends with Theo Epstein. He knows how Red Sox fans are.
Yeah.
He knows you're not going to be able to blow smoke at them and have them fall for it for any consistent amount of time. So they're going to find out. If they don't know it now, they're going to find out this offseason that fans are pretty fed up. I
think that's the case. Chad Finn, columnist, Boston Globe. All right, let's talk about a happier thing. Boston Celtics are your champions, and you, my friend, get a little book coming out. What do you got here? A
little book? Yeah.
How about this?
Little book. The only one that I have, because they sent me one, but it comes out October 8th. It's I did a Red Sox one. We talked about that when that came out. But it's a collection of the Globe's best writing about the Celtics through the entire history of the franchise. So it starts.
Oh, so you did the digging.
I did the digging with our brilliant researcher, Jerry Mannion, who did, he's the guy who I say, can you find this story and maybe one more? And I didn't drive him entirely mad, so, it's the Bob Ryan and Lee Montville and Shaughnessy and Jackie McMullen.
I'm familiar with this guy you chose to put on the cover here.
Bird, yeah. I posted the cover on Twitter, and people were complaining I had Byron Scott on there because he hates the Celtics and refuses to wear green. So can't win them all.
Not intentional?
No. But you gotta have the Lakers, right? I mean, that's the rivalry.
Includes 2024. So it was already. I'm guessing this is a lot of work to do. I joke when I say a little book. That's a lot of work to put those things together. I'm guessing this was happening before the Celtics won the championship, or
it was. Yeah, it's been about a 2-year process, just digging things up.
My goodness.
Structuring the book and finding photos, which was an experience because we moved to downtown Boston from Dorchester 7 years ago or so, and we moved our library photo library off-site, which had everything. You could go into our old photo library and you could look for 1957 Celtics training camp, and you'd have like 20 photos in there or something.
Wow.
And that's all. They moved it off site to Northeastern. There's a renovation at Northeastern, so we had a hard time finding some stuff. But it all worked out in the end. But
Yeah.
it was people will say, "Oh, you're just cutting and pasting stuff together." And I'm like, "Oh, you want to try it?" I'll tell you, it's cutting and pasting.
Fun project, or just do you like the grind of this, or would you do it again in a year? Or?
This is doing it again because I did it with the Red Sox. So I love it, and Celtics are basketball Celtics are my favorite thing to write about, especially this year. That Celtics team this year was my favorite team I've ever covered. I didn't cover the 04 Red Sox. I wasn't writing then. I was an editor, but just a wonderful group of guys, and it's really the best thing about that this year's Celtics team. I think the most fulfilling thing about sports and being a fan is when players you've watched grow up, and it's not, their progress isn't linear. There are bumps along the way, and it works out, and it happens for them. That's an incredibly satisfying thing, and that happened for Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown this year.
Yeah, they were great to watch. I was actually at the final game, the clincher at the Garden, and I mean that building was loud. It does get loud, that Garden, you know. My dad always says it's not like the old Garden.
It's not smoke.
Right, yeah, you know, he's got that whole boyhood thing that he remembers and growing up through that. But there's no doubt that building does get very loud.
It does. The Peyton Pritchard 3 in the clincher, the half court shot right before halftime. It's the loudest I've ever heard it.
So I was actually walking underneath down to like near where the buffet table is down there. If you could picture that, who's ever been down there. So you're kind of blocked off. You can't see the game at that moment. And I'm walking down there to go meet somebody as Pritchard hits the 3, and like it felt like it shook, like because you hear cheers, and so it kind of sounds like it's in the distance usually. Yeah. That felt like it was on you. And I was like, whoa, what happened out there at the end of the half? And I couldn't believe he did it again.
Yeah, we're up. I was up in level 9, which is where they put some of the media down in the corner.
Yep.
By the court, and then most of us are up in level 9, and you're staring straight ahead at the banners, and you can like see it rattling. After that shot goes in, everybody's going crazy. The other thing about that championship and that night and that celebration too, I've never seen more confetti in my life.
I know, a lot of confetti.
I think you had to swim your way out of it at the end.
Yeah, no doubt. They did a lot of confetti. It was cool. I like the visual, the banner they dropped on the balcony. Whatever fans did that. It was a cool scene, and the parade afterwards. I thought that was one of the more. I don't know what they had for arrests. I don't think many. It was a very peaceful parade that day for hot temperatures. Like I got the whole vibe. It was a lot of like kids and families. Of course, not all that, but it was a lot of that. And I remember covering it for WBZ, and I was thinking that's one of the more calmer, just joyous parades I've been to. So good job, Celtics Nation, I guess. Good job. Good season all around.
It's diverse, too. My colleague Gary Washburn wrote his column that day about that. It's great to see all sorts of different faces and age groups, demographics.
Yep. I remember Gary, I covered a story with Gary once. They send me at BZ, if there's anything tennis related, they send me because I know tennis and nobody else does in the newsroom. And Gary was doing a feature on the Laver Cup when it came to Boston a couple of years ago.
Yeah, was he?
Yeah. I'm not sure what he ended up writing about, but I don't think he's a tennis guy. Can you correct me on that if I'm wrong?
I don't know.
I don't believe he is, but they were sending him out there. And I remember we were talking to John McEnroe, and Gary taps me on the shoulder. He goes, "Do you know tennis?" He goes, "You take the questions." or you know what it was? I asked one question of McEnroe about more tournaments coming to Boston, and he goes, "I know, we got to." And Gary goes, "Good question." So I always liked Gary Washburn for that. I thought it was a funny little moment while on the job. Again, Chad Finn joining us, columnist of the Boston Globe. The other sports team we got to talk about, Patriots. Is this a 4-win team this year, or what? What do you think?
4. That's
5. You're gonna go 5?
I'm not. No. I think they're realistic about it, which is good. You need them to be. The ultimate test of that will be who they start at quarterback, because what they have to do is start Jacoby Brissett, because the veteran. Their line is brutal. Their start of their schedule is brutal.
Yep.
He's being paid $8 million to be the sacrifice this year, unfortunately. Let Drake May ease his way in. But I think
he already went down.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, says he's all right, but might have been foreshadowing what's in his future here.
Yeah.
But I think the line stinks, and it's not it's certainly fair to criticize how they've approached that in the off season, but the most important thing has happened in training camp that bodes well for their future, which is that Drake May looks like the guy. I wrote this the other day, but I've rewound his throws, just rewatching them, like, kind of thinking, wow, that's a rocket.
Yeah.
More in preseason than I did during Mac Jones's entire time here as a player.
Yeah.
And, I think they've got the right guy. He's a great kid, too, really upbeat, and they can't afford to break him. They just can't afford to let him get broken now.
Yeah, he seems like a better personality fit than maybe Mac was.
Well, you're a tennis guy. Mac was a tennis kid.
Yeah.
And a childhood model as well. And I always just get the vibe from him, like, I don't know, like he would have been on the wrong side of Cobra Kai or something like that, He wasn't a bad guy, but he's just kind of, I don't know. One time I really noticed him laugh was when they were like making fun of somebody.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be good-natured, but it didn't kind of feel good-natured.
Yeah. Yeah. It didn't seem that fun to hang out with, I guess.
Yeah.
But in that first year, I don't know. I guess he had it gone all right first year, looking back on it, but like everybody was so high on him, and I like never saw it,
I think they thought his floor was going to be a good, solid starter, and his floor ended up being total disaster, playing in fear, get me out of here.
Talk about breaking somebody. My God, that was ugly at the end. That London game, some of those passes, I was like, what? I've never seen a pro make a throw like that. Just
It's like,
floating a ball to no one.
That was the end. Yeah, threw an alley-oop, basically.
Crazy. All right, let's talk about the media landscape a little bit, because I know you, well, for better or worse, I know sometimes it's not the easiest job, as I see social media friends out there. I know it can be a battle, but your job is that you watch the whole media landscape, and, well, it's a time right now where it's a big changing one. There's so much going on in Boston. What's kind of the top storyline in the media world for you right now?
Probably WEI on the sports radio stations, which has just been, other than its morning show, been getting hammered by the Sports Hub in ratings. Had a shook up its lineup, affected three shows, middays, afternoon, evenings. So not drastic in terms of like the people they brought in or shuffled out. They kind of rearranged a few chairs.
Yeah.
But that's been the big thing, because sports radio still really resonates. Really, if you write something about, Michael Felger's the most successful host in the market. I just wrote a little one-off column on him on their 15th year anniversary a couple weeks ago. It just rockets #1 on our site. So the interest is there, even though at this point, of the two major sports radio stations, really only one of them is getting significant ratings.
Yeah. The Felger thing is amazing. I remember I was at CBS when they made that decision to go Sports Hub, and I mean it was a hit right away, essentially. Putting that station on FM, and it kind of had that rock and roll vibe to it. I think I would say, with them coming in and out of breaks with the music, and I don't know. Felger's well, he was with EEI too, so that's obviously
he was fill in and wrote for the website.
Amazing. Well, and then you have the other changes. So you have Beasley making changes too. How does this all shake out in Boston? I know I don't know. I look around the country and I see like certain news stations folding. New York. How does WCBS? A legendary station. It's an interesting medium. I mean, people told me radio was dying 20 years ago when I came out of college, and here we are. We find different ways to get through. But what do you make of the landscape right now?
Yeah, I'm curious what the demographics are, because it's sort of the same people I hear from who read my stuff in the newspaper rather than read it online.
Yep.
It's always people saying, I've been a Globe subscriber for 45 years or something like that. And I think it's similar with radio.
Yeah.
But the people are still really in the habit of listening to sports radio in Boston, probably trend a little bit older.
Yeah.
The Sports Hub trends younger compared to WAI, and that's been one of its huge advantages since it launched back in August 2009. The Sports Hub has made little cuts here and there, but that station is such a jewel for Beasley, and it makes so much money, so much ad revenue. I know it's been #1 in the country at certain points. I'm not sure if it is right now, but prints cash in an industry where that doesn't happen so much anymore. So, in my opinion, they should never mess with anything Sports Hub till ratings dip.
Yeah, I don't think they do too much. I haven't heard too much anyway, at least with the big players. I don't know everything behind the scenes, but it's a crazy world. And of course, you we were in the same building. I didn't see you that day, but I know you were there taking in the new iHeart show, the Rich Certainly show there on ZLX. What'd you make of that? What do you do covering that? You got to stand out outside the station. I know the TVs kind of do those awkward things where we're standing outside the radio station. What do you do for that one?
Yeah, I just they invited me over. They invited a bunch of media over for their first day, and I showed up, and Levin Reed, who was in the building, was there. But so I just came in and kind of sat in while they were doing their first show. I was in the studio, and I've known Rich since Sports Hub launched, and Ted Johnson, Michael Hurley, I've known for a while. So just from covering the beat, and knew Ted when he was playing for the Patriots. So just kind of hung out, wrote a little bit about what day one was like the next day. I think we're finding out to some degree in both cases that Rich and Fred Toucher, who's still with the Sports Hub and still getting really good ratings in the morning, the sum with those two was greater than the individual parts, because they have different. Rich is a high energy guy, but he needs a little cynicism with him, and Fred's very cynical, and I think he benefited from the Rich's super enthusiastic approach.
It is interesting thing about duos, right? I actually just watched a little Paul Simon interview the other day, and he's talking about how he goes, we had these issues, but we would have broken up anyway because duos don't last. And
you eventually want to kill Garfunkel? Is that what it is?
I guess, yeah. And I thought to myself, duos don't last. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I don't know. If I had that duo, I might make it last. I kind of feel that way about Toucher and Rich too. Like I was like, how bad could it have been?
I mean, it was pretty bad.
I get it, but it's 4 hours in the morning. I know it's more than that, but it's and then you go home to a very comfortable. I don't know. It's just sometimes
4
it's
hours
hard.
can be a long time.
I understand, and it's never just 4 hours. It's
5 days a week.
Yeah. Okay, it was pretty bad though. You say
it was. Yeah, I mean, it was personal stuff, and I think things on both sides that people couldn't forgive. With each other, and they just went past that point where you can stop and pause and look at it and say, we made a ton of money together. Maybe we should just ride this out and mend fences out. The fences were bulldozed at that point.
Listen, if Oasis, the Gallagher brothers, can get back together, oh man, which is just fascinating.
Did they make it to concert number one?
Did you see there's lines on that on some of the sites?
Like what?
Like
when they try to kill each other?
Do they bail by certain dates? Is the tour canceled by whatever?
Yeah.
Does the tour begin? I think it's even money or something.
I saw somebody who can't remember where I read it, but somebody said they're going to get back together until they have enough money where they don't have to deal with each other anymore.
Yeah, I loved all the headlines. I was reading the headlines of this, and I was an Oasis fan. It's right in my demographic growing up and everything. And I remember reading some of the headlines the other day, and I'm just looking at this they mend fences. I'm like, I'm not sure anybody mended fences. I do think they might try to deal with each other for a super mega tour and not try to kill each other, but I'm not sure they're going to be hugging it out.
Do you consider them a one-hit wonder?
No.
Saw somebody call them that today.
Ridiculous headlines right now. It's like people just.
It was just Wonderwall and.
Just Wonderwall.
Wonderwall was the song they cited.
Interesting. Yeah. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't know who wrote that. Yeah.
I saw it on Instagram. One of my friends.
I mean, I know in the newsroom, there's some young people that, I guess I heard a little bit of that, I know Wonderwall and stuff, and then it's but you probably know Champagne Supernova, that was I remember that one, and so that it all starts coming back. But I mean, those guys would have been. I was at the last show at Mansfield. They played. It was at 05, I think I said the other day on the radio, and I remember, what was it? That was the Tweeter Center in 05, and that show was I think they probably would have been selling out Gillette Stadium after that.
Really,
it was. Incredibly hard ticket. I even remember that in those days. The lawn was packed, and it was just the people wanting to be there was just felt like everybody in my little circle wanted to be there.
Yeah.
And we were lucky to be on the lawn as a high schooler for me in those days.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, the enthusiasm about them getting back together beyond the shock that they're actually doing it was really cool to see.
Yeah. And I'm not even. They go away for so long. It's I can't tell you the last time I picked up pick up CDs anymore. But even on, I don't listen to too much Oasis. But they were huge.
Yeah.
They were big. They were in every social circle in high school and college, and then they kind of just drift away when you go away for 20 years, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be an interesting tour. Somebody also wrote it'll smash Taylor Swift's ticket sales record, which I'm not sure about, but it seems a little of a lofty goal. How much can you realistically charge for a concert ticket? I mean, Taylor Swift's getting what, 500 for some good seats down there?
Yeah,
What's
my daughter told me 400.
She paid 400?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot for a concert. It's
What was your first concert?
Springsteen.
Was that?
Yeah, my first real show was a Springsteen show.
What you paid?
I know my dad paid, but it was face value $65 ticket.
Yeah.
And remember, the show is kind of a historic show too. It was a lot of stuff happening at once. It was after the Rising album, Providence, Rhode Island, freezing cold night. Bruce fans will remember this. And it was not long after the station nightclub fire. And we had we had also just kind of been either around that time invaded Iraq or bombed Iraq. And Bruce walks on stage. And I was even taken aback by that. I had never been to a big show like that, so I expected more elaborate. Nope, the band just walks on stage, he talks to the band real quick, counts it off, and they went right into war.
Wow.
What is it good for? Absolutely. I remember just at that point I was like,
all right.
And kind of, yeah, and then I, love affair for the next decades, but, that was my first show. It was a good memory.
Mine was Billy Joel in 8th grade.
No.
$20.
No kidding.
Yep.
We're at?
Cumberland County Civic Center in Portland.
Nice.
Yeah. Dump.
Yeah.
It's one of those 70s cement bowls.
Do you remain a Billy Joel fan?
It's come and gone.
Yeah. He annoys me only because whatever. You're an artist. You do whatever you got to do. But he's just been living off the same music for all these years. Come on, Billy, write something.
He checked out when I was in college, right? I think it was the early 90s.
He says he's angry. You've probably seen this. He's angry at himself because he couldn't. He could never be as good as that stuff was. And he says it was driving him crazy, affecting his personal life.
Huh.
Which I kind of think, I feel like it's just more of a checked out. I can still play Madison Square Garden every month for the rest of my life and make my money. And
basically had a day job there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Live in the Hamptons.
Bruce first Billy, I take Bruce.
I think most would.
I think so too. All right, what else is going on in your world here as we approach, fall? Can you believe this?
Gearing up for the Pats. That's what it is.
What do you do for them? What do they get you on this year? You have a single thing to be watching for? Or?
Winning 4 games.
Yeah,
I think that's what it's May's development. But
does the Globe say we want you to kind of be diving into May all year? Or are you just looking for whatever angle, kind of?
Game by game.
Game by game.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I write this massive weekly preview of the game that takes up full page in the paper for our older demographics. And it looks awesome. It's really cool, but I kind of worry it's going to be hard to find new things to write every week because they're not going to be very good, and this one storyline is just more important than anything else that might happen.
Football though, it's got American households no matter what.
Sure does. Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's 93 of the top 100 shows last year.
Is that what it was, really? Wow.
Something like that. And Sunday Night Football has been the number 1 show in prime time for 14, 15 straight years.
Yeah.
Show, not sporting event.
I always thought they were doing the London games. I always thought the goal of the NFL, and I guess they've done this for a good chunk of the season, because what do they do, 4 London games now or something?
Yeah.
You can get up and watch football from 9 a.m. to 11:30 or midnight. Mm-hmm. That's their goal, right? They want you to be able to be in the house with NFL football on.
That eventually expand over there.
And expand, yeah.
Become worldwide.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Crazy. Speaking of football season, we got a lot of. I think I'm having the Newburyport football kids in here next week. What do you remember about those days, the high school days? And did you play? Did you go to games? Did you enjoy the high school football at that level?
I didn't play. No.
Yeah, me neither.
I in 6th grade, I ran headfirst into a kid at recess on punt coverage.
Oh.
And it was like this is a kid who was like 30 in 6th grade.
Yeah.
He's the same size in 6th grade he is now.
Sure.
And next thing I remember, I'm laying on the ground. I look up and everybody's standing around me. So I had a bad concussion early.
Yeah.
So that kind of stopped me from playing in 7th grade. And I was like, yeah, heck with this. And I played basketball, so that was my thing.
There you go. Yeah. It's a bit.
Went to a lot of games, though.
Yeah, they're fun. It's a fun time of year.
Yeah. I would like to have played. Kind of wish I had.
Yeah, I don't know. People ask that. Somebody asked me that question the other day, actually. Would you let your kid, I don't have kids, but would you let your kid play, football?
I wasn't thrilled with the idea, and my wife was a adamant no, and my son had no interest. He's a senior, going into senior year. He had no interest anyway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Do you have the one, or?
I have two.
Two.
My daughter's at Simmons here.
Oh, so I was going to ask about
Down
the Simmons.
Boston.
Very good. That's
Yeah.
what that is? Did we already move in there, or?
Sunday, yes.
Oh, very nice.
Dad's got to haul the fridge up 4 floors. It's going to go up.
There you go. Well, be careful out there. We don't need any injuries in the move-in day. It's kind of a fun day, isn't it, though? It's like, is it sad for you as dad, or is it just you like the college buzz? It's a fun atmosphere. What do you take out of it?
It was sad the first year. She's going to be a junior, and she went to a different school her first year. And, that's, oh, my God, she's out of the house already. She was just 5 years old yesterday.
Yeah. It does go quick, they
But
say, right?
now, having her in Boston, she's at Simmons, Fenway's here, and Trillium Brewery's right in between, so it works out really well for me.
Yeah.
So I see her her first school was closer to us, like a half hour away.
Oh, okay.
And I probably see her more now, just because when I'm down in Fenway, I'll go see her. We'll have lunch or something. So it's really cool.
And if the Red Sox were good, you could go to more games. But
she got $9 tickets last September, and I think they're going to be cheaper this year. So
the student tickets, they're
Yeah.
one good thing. Yeah, they still do that, which is a good thing, I guess.
yeah.
Everything else. Last game I went to was I grandstand behind home plate, and I guess it was the first time, maybe the second time I went this year. I just didn't really notice the first time, but even those grandstand tickets they raised this year, it's like I think a $10 increase from a year or two ago. Keep increasing.
It's crazy.
Keep not making the playoffs. God damn it, Chad Finn.
It's got a good team here. Come on.
I know. I need fall crispness in the air. Nothing better than watching a 3 p.m. playoff game and having a.
I miss anticipating those.
I know.
Like thinking about it all. Pedro's on the mound. All right,
Yeah.
But I'm not one of those people who for is like, be careful what you wish for because things are going to change if they actually win one. Forget that. It's incredibly thrilling to see them win one, let alone 4.
Yes.
But you do miss that anticipation of the postseason beginning when you're not a part of it.
I wouldn't care if they weren't winning with the players that I like to root for. You grow up, you watch these guys come up through the system. Mookie, Xander. I didn't even care that Xander was past his prime. I liked him. I liked rooting for him.
Well, they could have signed him for a heck of a lot cheaper too.
Yeah.
I mean, he wanted to stay.
And I know like the baseball guys say he doesn't have range, but I played a lot of baseball in my life. I've watched it my whole life. It's one of maybe my favorite sport to watch. I don't know. I didn't see that guy making too many errors, and I didn't really often yell to myself, better shortstop gets to that ball. Like, it just seemed to, kind of do the job. I don't know.
Positioning counts, too.
Yeah, right?
Smart player.
I don't know. I love that guy. Anyway, sorry we ended with the Red Sox. That's how it goes. Thank you, Maeve Power. Appreciate you, Sarah Hayden, the boss. Our small but mighty team here in Newburyport. You guys are the best. Show the book one more time there, Chad. Go get it. When's it going to be?
October 8th.
October 8th. There you go. It's a good one for the Celtics
bookstores
fan.
Everywhere.
All right, and the Boston sports fan in general. It's been a fun ride for the Celtics here, of course, in 2024, and a lot of good years before that too. At the very least, a great Christmas gift, right? Huh?
Yeah. Halloween gift, Thanksgiving
Halloween
gift.
gift. There you
they all
go.
work.
Chad Finn, Boston Globe columnist. Thank you, sir. Live at Drew's house, Joppa Afternoon Drive. We'll see you next time, everybody.